Should be recording. So for the last 2 years, Liz Crowther has worked as a hydrologic technician and water rights clerk for the Bureau of Land Management. She was hired as a Pathways student intern while attending Boise State as an undergraduate. Back in December, she obtained her bachelor's degree in geology with a hydrology emphasis. And currently, she is a graduate student at Boise State, working towards a master's in hydrologic sciences under Jim. Her research will primarily focus on the expansion and contraction of stream networks in Dry Creek Experimental Watershed. With that, I'll hand it over to Liz.
Thanks, Hannah. Let's try that again. Oh, okay. Are you seeing the Google Slides page? I can't tell what people are seeing.
Yeah, we can see all of your slides and the current slide.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, as Hannah said, I am a master's student now at Boise State and work in the hydrologic sciences. I also concurrently work for the Bureau of Land Management as a hydrologic technician in the Water Rights Department at the Idaho State Office. Yeah, I mean, graduated back. I'm not really a professional. Just to clarify, if anybody knows more about this stuff than I do, feel free to chime in. But I mean, I think I am a little bit qualified to talk about it because I have been working there for about 2 years now. I mean, I've applied for many jobs on USA Jobs and kind of fought my way through it and trying to figure it out. So I think I have a little bit of advice to make it seem a little bit less scary. And yeah. So I work as a hydrologic technician, like I said, but that can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different bureaus and also just within where you're at, like either a state office where I work or something more in the field, like in a field office. So what I do mostly is I survey water sources in hydrologic basins. So down in the right-hand corner, there's like a red patch on that Idaho map. That's the Bear River Basin adjudication that's going on right now. And what that means is everybody in that area needs to apply for a water right or basically just claim the water that they are using in order to keep.
You should change your slide. I don't know if it's the same for anyone else, but I'm still seeing your.
My what?
We only see the slide layup, not the presentation.
What? Okay.
It's still on the first slide.
Let's try this again. I'm gonna.
Oh, there you go. It's good. That's good.
Okay, we can all see it now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. We're all looking at the same one. All right. All right. Yeah, just tell me if anything else happens. I'm not super techie. But anyway, so like I was saying, what my job is over the past couple summers is I would walk around BLM land and survey available water sources that were either already established, like cow troughs, or search for new water sources like low flow springs. And yeah, I mean, I got paid to hike around, so that was pretty cool. Saw a lot of wildlife though. And then during the school year, I do mostly office work and I'm stuck at my desk making maps and presentations for legal documents. I use a lot of ArcGIS and layers from like IDWR. I work a lot with the Idaho Department of Water Resources. And I also just review daily water rights. So a lot of documents come in and it kind of goes through me and I make sure that it doesn't conflict with federal land, which seems really important, but it's just a lot of people applying for things and yeah. It's not too bad, but like I said, hydrologic technician can mean a lot of different things. So I have a friend over in Oregon who's also a hydrologic tech, and they mostly just survey vegetation around springs and record flow. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, so when I was, I feel like, yeah, okay. Yeah, when I was an undergrad, I combined a lot of my research that I wanted to work on as like a final part of my undergrad to the Bureau of Land Management. And this is the poster I came up with and presented at the undergraduate research symposium that happens every year. And I looked at the geochemical analysis of low flow springs in the Samaria Mountains, which is where I did a lot of my hiking. It was really neat to actually combine something that was, policy related from my job and get their endorsement with the department's help. So that's a possibility when you're working these kinds of jobs while being a student. Working for the government does have its benefits. It has pretty good pay for entry-level positions, which is nice for a student. The thrift savings plan is kind of like a 401k for government workers. It basically, you take out like 5% of your paycheck and put it into an account, and then the government also contributes that amount as well. So you're just growing your profits. And that's why a lot of people retire early in the government, like at 50 years old, which is pretty great. The pay scale is really nice. So usually like yearly or however long you've worked there, you can raise your GS level and raise your salary. So really there's kind of only up. And yeah, it's also nice to apply scientific background to land management practices. I was really grateful that I got to do that and actually found a job while in college that applied what I was learning to the work I was doing. So how do you get these federal jobs? For one, keep an eye out for the emails that the Geoscience department puts out. I think I got my job from an email that Karen Viskupic sent out 2 years ago. And I mean, with the help of Pam Aislinn, which you guys are working with, and a couple other professors giving me good references, I got the job, which I'm really grateful for. And then through that, you have to get a USA Jobs account, which can be a little intimidating. So it's nothing really different than any other job websites like Indeed or Handshake. It's just higher background checks and a little bit more intense in that way. But the bones of it are very similar to what I bet everybody has already signed up on. So after you create an account on USA Jobs, the way that you find these specific gigs that you want to be in is through saving your searches and putting on filters. There are tons and tons and tons of jobs that go through this website every day and get, added and deleted and through all different bureaus. So you really want to filter down. Yeah.
Are you switching your slides?
Yeah. Can you not see
We're
that?
still on slide 2.
What is happening? Okay, hold on. I'm just going to unplug my monitor real quick.
Sorry.
No, please tell me these things. Please do.
We're on a different slide now.
Yeah, okay. Can you see me clicking through slides?
Now I can, yep.
Okay, everybody can see these things. Well, here's the last couple of slides. Wow. There's my stuff.
It's beautiful.
Huh? Thank you. Again, not a professional. Here I am. I'm glad everybody can see these things. I'm not sure why that happened, but we're all figuring out Zoom together. So it is what it is. But anyway, like I said, having multiple saved searches and filters is also really important. So if you want to find like a job that really fits what you want to do, but we're all, well, now I'm a graduate, but we're all kind of starting our careers in this field that we're studying. You really want to expand your range of jobs that you want to apply for, but then also have something that's more specific to what you really want to do, and keep an eye out for those as well. So when you put on all those filters, as you can see, I have a lot. You really want to narrow those down. You want to save those searches, and then you'll get emails like once a week or something from all the updates. A lot of those windows for jobs are pretty small. Sometimes they're kind of large, like that one at the top that's like 3 years apparently. Other times you'll see something that's a week or two. It depends on the competitiveness and how much how soon they need that position filled. Yeah. So like I said, keep your options open, have multiple saved searches. If you guys want to like open up USA jobs in your other monitor or whatever, I won't be offended if you're not giving me my 100% attention. Another thing to look out for are pathways program jobs. I bet a lot of people have heard about these or, through previous speeches on USA jobs, but I work in a pathways job. And it's incredibly beneficial for students. Like, yeah, my workload's a little bit more, but I have a gig that works with my school schedule, really is excited about research that I want to do, and it gives you priority hiring. So when you leave the Pathways program or basically graduate and then you no longer qualify for that job, you have a window of like 120 days where they have to either fill a position with you in it in the department or give you some kind of high priority for jobs that are available, which I'm not entirely sure how that works, but it's pretty nice to have that job stability after graduation. All right, can everybody see my slides clicking through? Just so you know, just check a thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, so kind of walking through it, I'm now going to talk about just writing your resume and applying for these jobs and kind of making it a little less scary. So as you can see, there's a really short window for that job, for the hydrologic technician. And that's usually how you're going to find jobs like this, unless it's like forestry or like kind of lower level fire jobs or rec techs that are not super crucial, but stuff like this at higher GS levels are going to go really quick. So, and also in that window, apply during the earlier days of that because they will get more resumes and it'll fill up a lot quicker. Again, it's kind of an elusive process, so I'm not entirely sure how that works, but yeah, that's what I was always told and I believe it. So in the description of this job, again, like I said, hydrologic techs can mean a lot of things. So what I told you about my job is like surveying water sources, working with legal documents. But this hydrologic tech is working with like hydroacoustic and GPS data in large river systems, which is really cool in my opinion. But again, it's a completely different job. So don't just look at the titles and the agency. Make sure you go down into the responsibilities and qualifications and make sure that you're applying for the right thing. I've had multiple coworkers already in my short federal career that have gotten in over their heads or have applied to a job that they did not want because they weren't entirely sure what they were going for. And again, like, are you qualified? I do encourage everybody to try and apply for as high of a GS level as they can get. But also, if you're going to apply for a GS4 because it might be easier for you to get it, go for it. Also, GS levels are different for every department. So for the BLM, 3, 4, and 5, I think 3, 4, and 5 are the same across the board. But beyond that, there's GS grades of 7, 9, 11. Like 8 and 10 just don't exist, but they do in the Forest Service. So see what your pay scale is going to be, and if you're going to, accomplish that, like in each step, like, are you going to become a GS5 from a 4 after a year? So these are all good things to know. But yeah, so, and one thing that has always been reiterated to me and also was told by my boss this morning that I should really drive this home is use exact keywords and phrases from the descriptions in your resumes. This is not plagiarism. You don't need to like come up with your own words for it or rewrite it in your own way. Just use the exact words and phrases, because what happens is it goes through an algorithm and the big national board, again, kind of elusive, and they are just looking at qualifications based off of the words that you use in what you have done versus what the job requires. So the more words that you match, the better chance you have of getting through that first step. So, I mean, like, you know, and also if you're not completely qualified, use words like proficient in, or like if you've done it in a lab, that's also really important. Like my job, they care a lot about GIS, but I only had one class in it. And so they were like, do you understand this? And it's like, yes, but you know, so don't fudge it too much, but like, yeah, again, try to get as much as you can. So what happens when you send in your application? Like I said, it gets sent to this big elusive national board where they're matching all of these things, seeing what you answered in your questionnaire and if you are qualified for any of those. And although it's it seems like an easy process, it can take months. I think when I applied for the job I have, it took 4 or 5 months to actually go through and mark me as referred. So be really patient. It'll take quite a bit of time, and sometimes you'll forget about the jobs you applied for and then hear back from people and get confused. But once that happens, if you do get referred, you'll get that nice little like green thing next to your application. It's really nice. If you don't, you get like not referred, and it's like really bright red and kind of depressing. But if you do, you wait until the offices contact you. So their HR department will give you a call and schedule a meeting. It's a lot of people encourage you to ask questions. So there's usually a number for the HR department on the description, and they'll answer a lot of kind of the specifics for you. My job, you can't really contact the boss. I'm not sure why. There's like some kind of rule on not, showing favoritism for new hires. So always go through the HR department. Don't try to search for certain people unless the HR department directs you there. I know it's a little different for fire. Like Grady always contacts his Grady is my boyfriend who is a firefighter. He always contacts like the places where he has been referred to and calls all their bosses, which is completely different for what I had to go through. So I don't know a whole lot about that. But yeah, final notes, I do like working for the federal government. But I mean, it's really nice having something during school and building your resume in a field that you want to be in. And it also takes you to really cool places. Like, even though a lot of my work is in the office, over the summer, I got to do spring surveys down in Jarbidge, which, I mean, like, that's pretty awesome. And some days, like, I just get stuck in the mud. Like, I don't know why we were out on UTVs that day, but we decided that it was worth it, even though it rained the day before. So, but I got paid to do that. Like, what? So anyway, yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me. And my email is just Elizabeth Crowther, my full name, at u.boisestate.edu. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, go Liz.
Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but thank you for following me.
Happens to the best of us.
Great.
Yeah, does anyone have questions about Bureau of Land Management, USA jobs, questions about anything that happened within the talk? I can lead us off. I had heard pathway intern once when I was talking to the Bureau of Reclamation, but what does that really entail? Like, and are those things, I guess Mike's kind of talking about it, are those things like I can just Google like pathway interns in Boise and find, or is that also something where it's USA jobs designated?
Yeah, so I was supposed to mention it earlier with the technical difficulties that happened. But yeah, so what Pathways is a program where the federal government hires students to basically enhance the knowledge of the department or something. And you're funded, like my paycheck doesn't come from the Idaho State office, it comes from the larger Department of the Interior, since it's a federal it's a kind of a large program. But what it means, the way you can really find it is, I think you can either set your filter on your search for pathways, or it's usually in the description within the first couple paragraphs. It'll say pathways intern, indefinite pathways intern, definite pathways intern. And really all it means is you're a student, or usually they'll say like student trainee in the title. And that's really the way to find it. Sometimes they're kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, depending on what your search things are. And I bet through the emails that the department sends out, a lot of the times they are pathways programs looking for undergraduate students. So yeah, hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, they just want to hire students so that you keep working there after you graduate.
And with the pathways, you're eligible for that for a period of time after you graduate. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it's like, I think like 6 months after you graduate. But I mean, for my job, they wanted me to keep working. And like, I think, so I'm not sure how long you can apply after you graduate to a pathways job. I think that's about like 6 months, recent graduate, but they want you to be a student in that time. And then afterwards, they have to find a job for you in like 120 days or something like that. Like my 2 coworkers had like a countdown on when they had to leave the job. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure of the exact window and when that works. But.
So you said you use ArcGIS. Are there other skills that you would encourage us to hone? I mean, they could even be field skills while we're undergraduates that might make us more competitive once we get past the first round of USA jobs.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I mean, data entry, they really like the fact that I use Excel for some reason. Like, they were kind of shocked that I was proficient in like Microsoft Word, and actually get familiar with all the Excel products like Access I use a lot. Yeah, I mean, ArcGIS is something that I think a lot of people are looking for right now, being able to use that and create readable products. Let's see, field skills, just know how to record data properly in whatever field that you're in. Like, yeah, I mean, some things I think it's kind of difficult to learn. So I use a lot of like AGOL Collector, which is an Esri or like an ArcGIS product that you use out in the field and put in your observations. But I never used that in my undergrad. So yeah, I think just get familiar with computer work and get familiar with data collection and good data collection, and not just like, yeah, the analysis usually you never have to deal with. So yeah.
Does Boise State offer like a class for learning how to record data, or a GIS class for entry level, learning how to do that at an entry level?
Yeah, so GIS, Intro to GIS is required for the degree. There's also, I think, a GIS minor. Yeah, so that's required. Data collection, you really just kind of come across in your labs. Like, I don't know about some of the other emphasis, but when I got hydro, we worked with a lot of data in Dry Creek and looking at stream data and how to properly get that, or stream gauging and understanding what stream discharge meant and how to get those values. So you come across them, I guess, in labs, but it seems like a lot of you guys are already doing it. But talk to professors and see if there's any kind of project that they can put you on or help with. Like I said earlier, I worked with Jim McNamara and Pam, and they really got me down the path of working in the field and knowing what that's like. I think field work is like doing field work daily is a big thing. Like being able to be out there for 10 hours a day and being self-sufficient and still doing your job is something that they really look for. And also being able to communicate with the public. So like, yeah. So just be able to be outside for a really long time, depending on what you apply for.
So with the BLM, are all the jobs like, or when you start the jobs, do you have to, and I say this coming from, I want to be in the field, but for someone who might not,
Yeah.
like, is it all field based, or do they have it where there's broad, like you could kind of pick a job based on whether you would be more suitable in field or lab?
Yeah. So, I mean, entry level positions usually are like you're just kind of doing the grunt work of getting data in the field, or you're like my water rights clerk side of the job. I'm mostly in the office creating things and viewing documents for somebody else. So, I mean, you, again, like reading through the descriptions, sometimes you come across things where it's just like, or sometimes there's a combo of things where you go out and you monitor like a stream or like a diversion from a river, and then report that back and then work on that in the office. But I mean, yeah, it just depends. Usually they'll put in like physical requirements or something for the field gigs. That'll be pretty high priority for them. Yeah, like my description was like, you need to be able to walk 10 miles a day for 8 days in a row. And it's like, that's not necessarily true. But if you see that, it's probably going to be mostly out there. So, yeah, they can be kind of sticklers on that too. They were really odd about it, but yeah, definitely keep an eye out for those.
It's good to know. Got to be in shape.
Yeah, they like for my job, if I'm not on the clock, they like allot 30 minutes for me to work out a day, just to like, even though that's like not enough to stay in shape for the field, but they really want you to be able to complete your work in a timely manner. But yeah, so yeah, do a lot of cardio for field work.